Can you talk about the whole like Twitter of it all for Kogi?
Yeah, Kogi started with at the time Twitter started. We started in a perfect storm of Twitter, the iPhone, and the economy crashing.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So it was the iPhone just came out. Like one in 100 of your friends had one.
Yeah, and I remember that time.
Almost like the TVs of the 50s, everyone had to gather around
the one device.
Yeah, to the one device, and watch the Ed Sullivan show, like that's kind of how it was with the iPhone at that time. And then there was no understanding of mobile social media in terms of we were still heavily entrenched in the MySpace era. So everything and chat rooms, so we still had to go home and plug in and pull up the chair, dial up.
Yeah, you had a computer room.
Yeah,
where's the computer?
There was a computer room. We had to wiggle into our
special table.
Special
for the
table,
computer.
yes. And you knew you were committed for an hour, so you had to kind of sink in and everything else had to be taken care of, and you were there, right? The idea of it just being fluid was just being introduced. So Twitter was around for a few months, but people couldn't connect the dots of why the hell do I need it?
You have people who are we communicating to?
Who are we communicating
each other?
to?
Strangers?
Why? All that.
Yeah.
And then the economy crashed with the real estate crisis, and people were really, really scared. It was a very sensitive time in America. It was this really barren situation, but then I call it like a Cheech and Chong truck. There's this little truck that came through people's peripheral, and then the technology allowed it to come through, and then I think the world needed a little bit of a pick me up and a smile, and weirdly we were the one that were that smile. It could have been something else, could have been anyone else, but Kogi was the one. And it's weird every time I talk about it, right? Because it was I was there. It was me. I'm a very shy person. I don't like to toot any horns or anything. But
you don't strike me as a horn tooter.
Yeah. It's hard to talk about, but as I get older and older with it, I do realize the significance and importance of it is there are sometimes certain moments where Jimi Hendrix walks into the room.
Yeah, it's that magic in the universe.
There's a magic in the universe, and it just happens to be that person or thing that happens. And for us at that time, it was Kogi, where the world was extremely hurt. People were losing their homes. People were killing themselves. Families were being broken up, and no one knew what the next step was going to be. And it was very much like the early days of COVID.
Yeah, everyone just reeling and not knowing if life will ever come back or not.
There were no answers. And then this truck, I'm looking at, is that Tom and Jerry? But it was like a Tom and Jerry feel. There was this little cartoonish thing that kind of came into the world. You're like, what the fuck is that? And then that's where Twitter came into play. It became like a scavenger hunt. People needed a distraction. And then the thing at the end of that rainbow was this taco that tasted like nothing anyone ever tasted before, but it also connected all the dots. And that just within days, it was crazy. Within days, we went from begging people to eat our food. We used to park in the clubs at Hollywood Boulevard, and to 2,000 people on the street.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't realize it was that quick when things just popped.
Happened.
That's insane.
It happened all within a month. So the month of November to December was hit or miss, and then right around December into January is when everything just started blowing up.
You just wouldn't be sleeping.
That's great. Thanks for picking up on that. We would do back-to-back shifts. We would. It was one of those situations where, you're so busy, you're prepping as people are still ordering. You're just trying to keep up with the plate, with the thing. It's and then you would sleep for a few hours, wake up the next morning, just prep and get back on the streets. Yeah.
You were probably still figuring out how food trucks worked at that time too, of how to best do it, because it wasn't as much of a phenomenon as it is now, and till that moment almost.
Yeah, we were figuring out where we go and how this whole thing flows and works. Before Kogi started, I trained on the truck for a little while. One of the catering trucks, a couple taco trucks. So I started to understand the mechanics of it. But we never imagined like, what was going to happen. Like, like we were just looking to maybe do regular business every night. Sometimes I would hire people in line.
Help!
Yes,
help me!
Seriously, I've hired a couple people in line. Literally, the line goes. You can see the end of the line.
Oh my God!
And we only have like 2 or 3 people working.
Yeah.
I would just look at someone and go,
yeah.
Come on.
I know what's up.
And then, come on.
Yeah.
Get on the truck. And then they go, oh, yeah, chef. They were just
wild
working.
methodology. Really good.
And that's kind of how everything was a split second decision.
Wait, what was
a beautiful time, man. I miss that time so much.
Well, that probably answers my question. What was the combo of fun versus this is really fucking stressful having 200 people there waiting?
Oh, it was never stressful, man.
Yeah, cool. Just joyous vibe.
Bro, it was like Led Zeppelin, man. It was just the first 2 years was just, it was the best, man. I think about it a lot lately. Because the world is so complicated right now, and I miss that time, man. I really, really miss that time. That time for myself, but also for the city, also just where we were as a civilization. We were still kind of figuring things out. We were transitioning from kind of a semi-low tech, kind of analog digital world into where we are now. The information was still at the bridge of where, journalism was still
totally
really strong. You had some trust. There were trusted sources where you could, we were all collectively also bound by certain, collective ideas in terms of information.
Yeah, and just how to be polite as well. How to be polite,
and again, we were still a little bit just dumb, like just figuring things out.
Naive to where the stuff could go.
Yeah, better word. Yeah.
I think if you're lucky in life, you have that sweet spot of like a year or two where you can always look and go, oh my God, that was just the right time.
That was the right time.